All right, so we're gonna have a conversation today about Brandon Aiyuk because this dude has totally fucking lost it. Like he lives in Looney Tunes land. He's a Sour Patch Kid. There's no making him happy. He has zero self awareness, and there's really no evidence to suggest that he's an elite player to be acting like this. So we need to talk about Brandon Aiyuk today. We're gonna do it similar to the Red Sox video I just put out. We're also rocking the ECU hat today. If you haven't checked out my series on East Carolina for the NCAA football game, please subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the gaming channel where you can find that too. Anyway, I haven't seen one person have a rational conversation about Brandon Aiyuk, so I figure I'll do it and step up to the table. I'm going to share my screen a bunch of times, but I'll get into it right now. Let's just get into it. I've been screaming this for a long time. Like, this dude is delusional. If the 49ers were actually smart about this, they would have traded this dude a long time ago. Like, this dude, if the 49ers actually ran their team correctly, he should have been traded at the draft, and they would have just been able to take care of their outside receiver need because they could have just pulled the trigger on Coleman at pick 30. Instead, they took Pearsall, another inside receiver, and really gave themselves no out here with Aiyuk, because if they get rid of Aiyuk, they don't have a replacement for Aiyuk. Like, if you just go through the 49ers roster, they added another slot receiver with Jacob Cowing, another inside receiver with Ricky Pearsall. McCaffrey's an inside receiver. Kittle works the middle of the field. Debo's basically a running back who functions as an inside receiver. They don't have another outside receiver. So a lot of this is poor team planning by Kyle Shanahan. A lot of this is on the 49ers. They could have gotten rid of this headache a long time ago. And if I was in charge of this team, he would have been gone a long time ago. But we'll keep going here. But I do want to stress that because a lot of this is on the 49ers. Like, this can't happen. Like, oh, because he's irritating me, now we have to trade him? Too late, buddy. You're too late. And I'm going to say this again, and I know a lot of people, when I say this, they sit there and say, he doesn't need your help. Who do you think you are? This dude, Kyle Shanahan, absolutely needs my help, and he has no idea how to run a team. In terms of X's and O's and understanding formational football and calling an offense, he's fantastic. There's almost nobody I'd rather want. Him and Andy Reid, like the top two guys offensively, no question about it. Him, McVay, Andy Reid, like, you want an offensive coach, I wouldn't trade Shanahan for the world. In terms of running a roster, he's clueless. Clueless. And if he actually had my help, he actually probably would have won the Super Bowl last year, which is crazy to think about. But like, let's really dive into this. If I'm running a team, if I'm a general manager of a team, this hold in is not happening. You're either practicing or get the fuck out of here. One of the two. This idea that the 49ers allowed Aiyuk to just be a cancer in the building and not do anything is insane. Like this hold in situation. All he's doing is being a distraction. All he's doing is being a bum. The rest of his teammates see this dude in sweatpants and a sweatshirt walking around just being a bum while everybody else is working hard on the field. Can't happen. Like, it just can't happen. This approach to, we'll let him hold in. Fuck that. And any team that actually does this hold in situation is wrong. And I'm going to stress it again. Either send the guy home or tell him he's got to practice. One of the two. This hold in situation is further expediting the problem. And the fact that Shanahan allowed this to happen has proved my point over and over and over again. He needs help running this team. He's a great head coach. He's one of the few coaches that understands formational football. This guy creates so many open plays, and Purdy wouldn't be nearly as good without him. We all know that. But dude, like, some of the roster decisions, some of the decisions he makes in general, this can't happen. They should have sent him home the second he even tried to do this. And furthermore, is anybody going to talk about, like, he's missed on 800 third-round picks? Like, how many third round picks is this guy going to miss on before you tell me that I don't have a right to suggest that I should be able to help him? Like, even this year, Isaac Guerrero stinks. Like, the idea that you took him in the third round is laughable, and it's going to be a repeat of a mistake that he continues to make over and over and over and over and over again. Whether it be Joe Williams, whether it be Davis Price, whether it be Trey Sermon. How many shitbag running backs are you going to pick in the third round that suck and don't help your team? And that's not to mention the fact that he picked a kicker in the third round, Jake Moody, who's not even any good anyway. This guy, I mean, he can't draft. Like, even if you go back to that 2020 draft, I mean, they picked Javon Kinlaw with their first pick. That should have been Lamb. If they had just picked Lamb, they wouldn't be in the problem that they're in, because nobody should have a problem paying Lamb. I mean, Dallas is in a situation too with Lamb, but the Lamb contract's easier to get done. This Aiyuk one, there's no evidence to suggest that he's an elite receiver. None. Let's keep going. They should have traded this idiot a long time ago. Like a long time ago. This idea that, like, this video was insane. Can we just play this again?
Bro, look in the cam, bro. Flip the cam.
He got me vlogging this shit.
Bro, what? They said they don't want me back. I swear.
Oh my.
Which is just factually incorrect. They never once said they didn't want him back. They just want him at their number. So he's totally delusional. Like, this guy has no sense of reality, which is the biggest problem. And I'm gonna do more screen sharing here because it really needs to be talked about. This is the current wide receiver market. Now, Jefferson's deal is kind of creating some confusion here because it says 35 a year, but it's not really 35 a year because it's an extension upon the 5th-year option that he has. So it's really 32, which kind of puts him in line with A.J. Brown. But Aiyuk wants to be up here. So, and again, DJ Moore just got a contract extension done. Tyreek Hill just signed a new deal. Like, the 49ers have tried to do right by this guy. He just wants this money. And there's no numbers to suggest that he's that good. And again, let's go to the DJ Moore contract that just got done, because if he would have signed the DJ Moore thing, Aiyuk could be under contract. Like, that's just how it would be. Like, if he was willing to sign this DJ Moore extension, he'd be under contract already. And let's talk about some of the motivations that went into this. So DJ Moore basically said, look, Caleb Williams is going to be a superstar. I want to be here. So let's get this thing done. And I'm not the biggest DJ Moore guy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's awesome. But if Aiyuk was willing to sign this deal would be done. This is the thing. Like, if Aiyuk was willing to sign this, he would have gotten a deal done. But he wasn't willing to sign this. And if you look at the wide receiver market, DJ Moore's well below the Jefferson line, which is where Aiyuk wants to be. And again, the biggest problem with this is there's no evidence to suggest that he's an elite wide receiver. There's just none. There's no evidence to suggest he's an elite wide receiver. In fact, I can make an argument that prior to last year, he was closer to not having his 5th-year option picked up than being an elite wide receiver. His first 2 years in the league, average production for a first-round pick, really? Like, is anybody going out and bragging about this? And then even the year after that, he finally hit 1,000 yards. Way to go, buddy. Way to go, buddy. On 114 targets. Okay. And then last year he really popped. Last year, he really had a good year, which is really his only good year. Like, again, it's the first time he even got an award. Last year is really he has 1 year of evidence that he's a good player. 1 year of evidence that he's a good player. Like, let's just go and compare him to a couple guys. So Pickens in year 2 has already averaged more yards per catch. Like, I just really want you to think about this. So last year, Aiyuk, his best year ever, 17.9 a catch. His best year ever. Pickens in year 2, 18 yards a catch. He's over it. He's already beaten his numbers in year 2. And that's keeping in mind last year, his quarterback play. Last year, his quarterback was Pickett. Last year, his quarterback for the majority of the starts was Pickett, who barely threw for 2,000 yards in 12 games. Compare that to Purdy's numbers. Like, the fact that Pickens is out producing him is fucking insane. And that's year 2 Pickens, not year 4 Pickens. What evidence do you have to suggest that you should be the top paid receiver or close to it? You don't have any evidence. There is no evidence. Like there is no evidence. Let's compare him to some of the other receivers. So for his career, let's compare him to some of the other receivers. He's at 3,931 yards, about 14.6 a catch, and 25 touchdowns. Let's just compare him to some of the other receivers because Higgins hasn't gotten paid either. He's around the same. But last year, he was kind of hurt. So if you really just give him a healthy season, Higgins is above his numbers. But since he's not, we won't. And he hasn't gotten paid either. But Pittman's been paid. His numbers are down, obviously, but he hasn't had good quarterback play. His quarterback last year was Minshew. He finally cracked 1,000 yards again here. But like, Pittman didn't get a top deal. Like, Pittman's not even close to the numbers that Aiyuk is asking for here. Like, he's not close. If you compare him to the numbers that he wants, like, if you compare him to the numbers, he's not close to Jefferson. He's not close. He's not close to Lamb. Like, he's not close to these numbers. Like, he's not close to these numbers. Like, there's no evidence to suggest he deserves this deal. Like, zero. There's no evidence to suggest he deserves this deal. And not only that, let's jump into this now. Because he also has no leverage. Like, I don't know why he thinks the rules don't apply to him, but he's under contract. Like, he's on the 5th-year option. T. Higgins is playing. Like, T. Higgins showed up for camp. He's going to play in the 5th year. Or he's going to play in the tag. Sorry, he wasn't a first-round pick. Higgins is going to play on the tag. You're under 5th-year contract. And if the 49ers wanted to, they can hit him with a tag in 2025, and they can hit him with a tag in 2026. They have 3 years of control here. Like, in what world does Aiyuk have the leverage? He doesn't have any leverage. The only leverage he has is because you allowed him to sit in. And you don't think he needs my help, Shanahan? Again, A, they could have avoided this situation a long time ago. They should have just traded him at the draft. B, he's totally delusional and has no self-awareness. And let's just go and talk about this, right? Let's go talk about the next thing. So they had a deal lined up with the Patriots. They were going to get Kendrick Bourne, some draft picks. They had a deal, but Aiyuk didn't want to go to the Patriots. There's no making this guy happy is the biggest problem. Like, he wants all the money. We give him a spot where he's going to get all the money. Well, I don't want to go there. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him? There's absolutely no pleasing this guy. So, again, let's just wrap this thing up because I'm tired of talking about this idiot. There's no numbers to suggest he's an elite wide receiver beyond last year, which is a 1-year sample size. So he thinks he should cash in early, 3 years before he actually can, because one good year where he's not the focal point of the offense. Like, let's keep that in mind too. If you're going just key important pieces on the offense, Trent Williams might be first or second or whatever. Trent Williams is ahead of him. He's the best left tackle in football. Then Christian McCaffrey's right. Like, it would have to be McCaffrey. He was literally in the MVP conversation last year, and he is the single greatest fantasy running back ever. Then it's Deebo Samuel. Like, it's not an argument. Go Google yards per play with Deebo Samuel on the field, yards per play, Deebo Samuel off the field. And actually, let's just do that really quickly. Because there's evidence. There's evidence that Deebo Samuel totally impacts their team. Let's look at let's just pull up his game log. He missed the Cincinnati game and the Minnesota game. You notice they lost both of those games. And he didn't play really, and he had one target. He got hurt early. Then he missed the next 2 games. You notice what happens here when Deebo Samuel isn't on the field. When he's on the field, they just win every game. Is that how that works? When Deebo Samuel's on the field, they just win every game, but when he's not on the field, they can't win. You think that's an accident? Like, do you think that's an accident? He makes their team. And if you don't understand that, you don't know football. So we're already on 3. And I would argue Kittle, just in terms of this is a run-first team that relies on the play-action pass. The way that Kittle can not only catch the ball, but his blocking ability. I mean, he really impacts their team with his blocking ability. I would argue that Aiyuk is the 5th most important guy in their offense. And I haven't even gotten to Purdy. I've pushed Purdy to the side. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Like, what are we talking about here with Aiyuk? Does anybody consider him a top 10 wide receiver? I don't. So, again, this dude is absolutely fucking delusional. I don't know why anybody would even want this clown. And the fact that they gave him an opportunity to earn all this money with New England, and he's like, I don't like that. Like, there's no making this guy happy. He's totally fucking delusional. And the faster the 49ers move on, the better off they'll be. That's all that really needs to be said. I mean, is anybody defending this fucking loser? And after that Jaden Daniels video, get a fucking life, dude. How about if you had a real sense of fucking pride, you would go prove that you're an elite wide receiver. But he has no, oh my pup. He interest in doing that, obviously. So we're gonna cut it here. I'm so sick of this loser.